1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And hello, fellows. Herogon here. Now, today is Thursday, June 22nd of 2023. And tomorrow will be, how do you put this? The supposed birthday of Sonic the Hedgehog. And with that also comes a Sonic Central update that's coming tomorrow. So I'm a bit excited, seeing as I've been quite the fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. In other news on my own little life outside of being a game dev, I spent much of the weekend at my dad's RV, and even going to a few places in Orlando for Father's Day. So yeah, heck, I even ate my first Jimmy John's sandwich. I know, a bit weird that a guy like me has not tried a Jimmy John's sandwich up until now. So yeah, that's pretty much a bit of the lowdowns on my life. I don't know how much more I can give from there, so let's get into the fighting game framework updates. Now, with this week's fighting game framework updates, I unfortunately could not work on Sunday because I had Father's Day plans with my dad. I, of course, eventually got around to completing this part around Monday and Tuesday. So it was all good. Now, this week involves further improvements to the in-game item shop. Now, so far it's been a decent enough time, but what if we want to have it going up and down movement, so you won't have to use left and right all the time? While this was done with the category rows, I also want to do it with the the store rows right here. Now, I almost forgot. Credit goes to Sean the Bro, currently sitting at 7,300 subscribers. So yeah, all of his tutorials are pretty good. So yeah, almost forgot about that. I should again remind that I'm not using a script for this, so do pardon if I have a bit of an unstructured style. Now, with this week's tutorial from Sean the Bro, he went over vertical navigation for the in-game shop, separating category and item navigation, and finalizing some movement control over the Store Widget. Now, with this part, it's pretty easy enough. Now, you can go between the items in the store, which looks easy enough, but was a bit rough on things. Now, going into my own copy of the project, or should we say duplicate, seeing as it does use Sean's logic. But of course, I had to go through the long journey of trying to see all this stuff and replicate that into my own copy of this stuff. So yeah. And I'd like to also say that it's been at least 2 years since I've done the fighting game framework tutorials. I know, pretty wild, isn't it? And I, of course, have been enjoying a lot of my learning from this, or following, rather. Now, for this part, it's just blueprints and only involves the Store Widget. A lot of the new stuff involves the current horizontal box, but right now we will go into Move Selection. Now with Move Selection, we want to cast to our store row and create a little branch right here. If current selection row is less than or equal to 0 and it's true, then we keep going through all of this, and I am not entirely sure which part is which, but I do know that this part is likely, the part above is likely for the category stuff, and this below is our newest logic, allowing for the new parts for the store row, because our item vertical box involves a lot of this. Now as the store row, we get, now for the branch, we go into another part. If the current row plus the direction is greater than -1, and the current row plus the direction is less than the max selections in each category's length, then if that's true, we set our current row to the current row plus the direction and set that as our current row. And we also set current selection row 0, typical determine category button to focus and display hovered category option, and going back into the play sound branch part. For the false of the current selection row is less than or equal to 0, the false part is a bit of the same sort, but instead we are making use of current horizontal box as the first part, and then we are getting the children count of the item vertical box. Within that, we then set our current horizontal box plus direction into the current horizontal box, and then cast to store row. Then if the children count is less than the current selection row, we set our current selection row to be the children count. If false, we just skip that and determine our item button to focus. Most of the stuff is the same as the above here, and with the exception of the is valid not having our current horizontal box being set to 0. So yeah, lots of stuff. With regards to the determined number of items in each category, I've added a new +1 node, new add node here, which will be useful to determine the difference between moving from category to moving from items. The +1 is useful for that. And with the display hovered item option, now we are just getting all the children of item VP, VB, and for each looping it, cast to store row. That part's about it for the display hovered item option. With determine item button to focus, we have our current selection row now using a -1 part, as well as our typical stuff here. In event graph, there is so far not much change to it, and that is pretty much all of the stuff with regards to the the store widget part. Move selection had the most changes around. Even I have a hard time comprehending some of that. A bit of a price to pay when it comes to game development and well, having this as a sort of hobby. Now, going into the game itself, we can go into the archives, go to store, and if you notice, I can move from here to here. I can move down right now. Then go to stages. Of course, one part of the issues here is if you press down and try to press the left again, then it ends up not working. And also, it's a bit rough around the edges. Now this, of course, works if you end up... Of course, things end up being just fine if you happen to have a second row. But if you have only one row, things are a bit rough. Thankfully, I can easily just press the confirm button to change my selection in the store, and ironically enough, if I press it again, it goes back to the first part. So yeah, that of course is pretty much it. Now do note, if you end up having the state, if you do end up pressing the left when you go from there, like this, that just means you're able to move from part to part. And that's what the sort of difference is between things. So yeah, that is pretty much it. To those that are a little confused by how unscripted things have been, I'm a bit sorry about that. Credit again goes to Sean LeBro for his tutorials. They've been pretty enjoyable, and I look forward to each and every one of them every Friday and Sunday. Whether I'm doing the Friday tutorial that's essentially a variety every week from first-person action RPG, Smash Bros. Template, or the input buffer, the blueprint-only input buffer, it's been a decent time. Or should I say a great time. It's quite shocking, again, that I've been working on all of this for at least 2 years. I've been following this whole tutorial series. So those have stuck by possibly since 2021. Thank you for watching. And with all of that, I've been Herogon. You've been you. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to you guys tuning in real soon. Goodbye, everyone.